Connect.
Welcome to Valley Home Vibes, the podcast that's all about the sizzling hot real estate market here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm your host, GT Campanile, joined by Kevin Price and Laurent Abitbol. Today we're discussing real estate investment strategies for beginners. All right, let's start it off. Kevin, you're the resident realtor. What's going on with real estate investment in 2024 right here in Phoenix?
Well, I still firmly feel that Phoenix has a lot of opportunities. It takes a little bit of digging, but there are still value homes that can be found for investment. If the person is in a situation where they bought their house a couple years ago and they have equity available to them, then they could pull that out and go start being a real estate investor. Another thing that we don't talk about, and I think there's a lot of confusion, and I'm not even completely familiar with them, or I could know more, is assumable loans. There's still a lot of assumable loans out there, and I was doing some reading on it this week, and I found out on VA loans, you don't have to be a veteran to assume a VA loan. So if someone's out there and they had the ability to make up the difference on an assumable loan, then that's another option that has these lower interest rates from the years that we'll never see again. But
That's right.
yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunities out there. Takes a little bit of digging, but there's definitely opportunities out there for investing in all of the Phoenix area.
Yeah, that's one nice feature about the VA loan, right? Is that it is assumable. If you have orders or you're being deployed, and you might be able to just get out from underneath that house. So, I think that it seems like these growth cities it's always like what seemed like a good time to invest, but we've seen obviously price slow down, even though it's still growing, right? It's just not growing as fast as it was in 2021. Laurent, what is your take on that for, where we stand in 2024? Do you feel it's a good time to invest?
I think it's always a good time to invest. There's never a bad time to invest in properties, for sure. The market always changes. It's just like saying, is it a good time for me to start my 401k? The market is not doing so great right now. The more you wait, the less time you really have, right? So it's never a bad time to start investing in properties.
So I always, have a lot of these conversations with, folks who are looking to finance, investment properties. And, remember, we want to kind of keep this focus for beginners. So
Right.
I'd like to lead off with just some strategies. And we were definitely not looking at, getting any detail on, let's say, rehabbing or maybe even flipping, because these are typically strategies that are for somebody with a little more experience. But I would like to start with, renting a room. Renting a room can help offset costs. So there's a lot of people that would like to get into real estate investing. But a good first start might be if you have a spare bedroom. And that might pay for, maybe gas and groceries or your utilities, or might even offset some of your mortgage. And there's also, just plain, like you alluded to, Kevin, buying an investment property outright. And that gets into more of the creative financing side of things. So you may decide to refinance and pull cash out, go look for a home, and invest for the down payment, put that cash down. Usually down payments start at around 15%, right? If you're buying an investment property, and that's going like, say, conventional or conforming loan, all the way to what's called DSCR, which is debt service coverage ratio. And this is a loan program that we had the residential community has borrowed from the commercial world, but really it's as long as your mortgage is covering your rent, or excuse me, your net operating income is covering your mortgage, then you're good to go on, say, a DSCR loan. Those typically will require 20 to 25% down, and that's what you would call like a peer investor loan. They usually don't even look at income. And then there's, I think, the most popular strategy for those who are willing to move, and that's house hacking. And that's where you're moving out of your home. You're going the home you're leaving, you're going to rent it out, and you're going to buy your next home as a primary home. That means you can put as little as zero down if you qualify, say, for the VA loan or USDA loan, and but the minimum is typically 5% for like a conventional. So you can, if you're now going to be a investor where you've got an investment property, you can typically, write down all those costs or write off all those costs for taxes. You wouldn't be able to do this on, say, your primary home, right? But now that you've got a property that's, is 100% investment property, you can write all those expenses down on your Schedule E. Not giving a tax advice here. Probably should talk to your enrolled agent or your certified public accountant, CPA, or any tax accountant who is eligible to give you advice. But yeah, you would be able to write those expenses off, and you would take your basis. You could add all those expenses to the basis, and now that's what you're in on that home, right? So that's a strategy. And I think the most popular question, if people who are looking to house hack, is what do I have to do? Do I have to fill out some paperwork? Do I have to let the IRS know? Do I got to let my lender know? And the answer to all those questions is you don't have to do a darn thing. All you got to do is leave the house at your former primary home, buy a new home. That's the one thing you do have to do, and then just rent it out. That's it. It's actually quite surprising how easy it is. So I think house hacking, at least from a beginner standpoint, is kind of the lowest cost way of getting into investing and building a portfolio.
Yeah, and depending on your family situation, if you had the ability to, you go buy a duplex, rent out the other side, and then they would be able to cover as well part of that. If you're able to buy both sides of it, then you're able to rent out the other side and have them help with the mortgage, another expense as well. And there you already have half of an investment property. So then when you do move to a new primary, you have two doors that you can rent instead of just one door at that time.
Yeah, that's an excellent strategy. I've known people who actually have used the FHA loan, and they've gone and bought like a 4-unit, and you can get conforming and government loans up to 4 units. And there's not as many here in Phoenix as you might find in, like, say, Chicago and some of, like, where there's more dense urban areas. There's tons of those kinds of properties. But you still have duplexes and triplexes here in Phoenix. And I've even seen 4 units around. And yeah, you could actually buy as a primary home and rent the other 3 units out. Maybe you're even covering the cost of your own mortgage. And then, yeah, it's a great investment strategy, actually. Even the VA, allows this strategy. So something worth talking to your realtor or loan officer about. But I will say that you really have to look closely at the numbers, because they are going to want to see that like DTIs, debt to income ratios, all those numbers still apply. And it is hard to actually kind of cash flow on these properties.
Yeah, and generally when you are renting, you're only going to make a couple hundred, if you even make a couple hundred a month. Sometimes you're just breaking even. The profit comes when you have the equity built up in a couple years, or you just outright sell it in a couple years. You could pull the equity out of that one and then go buy another one on top of it. So, and just use your original house to finance your second investment property. So that's one thing also to keep in mind.
Absolutely. So let me throw another question out there, guys. Are you seeing, whether it's in, as a realtor or insurance, are you seeing these properties come by your desk? And if so, how often?
Like the investment properties or the multiplexes, 2, 3, 4
Yeah, like
doors.
the multiplexes, because I feel like this is a strategy that a lot of people would love to pursue, even as a house hacking strategy, meaning you're leaving your property behind, buying the next primary home, and being able to offset your costs with either, at the kind of the basic level room rentals, or you're able to rent the other units out and hopefully offset your mortgage.
Right. Yeah, those properties are out there all the time. There's people that are wanting to get out of being investing, and they're willing to sell. They're done with it. They've made their money, and it's time for the next chapter of their life. So makes way for the old makes way for the new. There's plenty of those properties that people have the ability to get into right now. You do have to kind of be smart about it because you just don't want to pick up the first one you get. You got to do your due diligence. There's still that plenty of opportunities for someone to do these investment properties. Last year, I had a client that bought a brand new house as an investment property. I mean, that's something that not many people think about, but hey, they're offering the best interest rates right now. You have a 1 year warranty right off the bat. It's brand new, so as long as they're not kicking holes in the drywall, you really don't have much maintenance you need to worry about. So I know many people don't consider a new construction like, oh, I'm going to put a renter in there. No, it's a safe bet. In my opinion, I feel it is.
Yeah, cheaper the tile, the cost and everything.
Yeah. On the insurance, I mean, I have a few investors. People are investing for sure. They're usually cash buyers, not a whole lot of mortgage.
Yeah.
A couple of them, though, people are still investing and buying properties for investment.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm working on one right now. He's an investor.
Yeah, Phoenix, this is one of the hottest, cities for sure for investment. And I think a lot of the news that has come out has shown like maybe these big asset managers, that are kind of buying up all the properties. But believe it or not, the majority of investors are, still your mom and pop investors, as they say. A family looking to either house hack or buy something on the side that they can rent out.
Right?
Yeah, it's what is the company? BlackRock. They don't own all of them. It is mostly just your everyday customer out there buying homes.
That's right. Okay, that's a wrap, folks. Reach out to us if you want to know more about real estate as an investment, or if you have any questions about buying and selling a home or insuring a home, please use the information below. And lastly, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. Until next time.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care. All right. Cool.